All right. Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of The Kingdom of the Kael Isles. Yes, this is my... Oops, I hit the wrong button. There we go. You just saw the starting soon screen again. Oops. This is my custom D&D campaign that's been going for over 2 years now. Very, very cool. Some bad stuff happened to you guys last time. Yeah, there was bad stuff. There was fire falling from the sky. Y'all decided to pick a fight with someone who might have outclassed you a little bit, and then he ran like a bitch as your little village burned to the ground. So
Call it little. I mean, we had a thing going.
so now you guys were able to get far enough away that you're on one of the other smaller islands in the archipelago, and have had a chance to rest.
And then got a huge bombshell dropped on us.
Yeah, Elaine kind of told you guys about the fact that there's a lot more going on here than you originally thought, specifically with the fact that sorry, I have to adjust something very quickly. There we go. All right. Specifically the fact that you guys and this world itself, and technically all the planes of existence, have been cut off from each other because of something the Eladrin have done. And Elaine now has a mission to fix this. Whatever it is that the Eladrin have done, he needs to fix it. Which explains why the Dark Lady is having such a hard time communicating with you, Fade, and why it seemed that she was, quote unquote, losing her power and things like that. So you guys now have this explanation of why certain things are happening. However, there's still a lot more unanswered questions that you guys don't know, like why the Eladrin would want to do this, or, a million other things, what benefits, how they're doing it, So, yeah, you guys have your little cave. Willow made it so that divination magic doesn't work in the caves, so you guys can kind of be protected and hidden from sight. You got rid of your little rock thing back at the rubble encampment. I was going to say rebel encampment, but rubble sounds just more fitting now. So, yeah, the two druids that you were able to heal left early in the morning to go and try and find the rest of their people, try and help them, try and heal them as much as they can. Seeing them not incredibly defenseless, but their very kind of pacifistic nature, the Serrated Death wanted to go with them, if for no other reason than he wants to see what other survivors there are out there, and make sure that if these guys are the last two druids currently on this plane of existence, they're not going to be the last ever, other than Kata, obviously. So he decided to leave with them to see what other stragglers and survivors he could cobble together. So yeah, what do you guys want to do now?
Well, we off with a standoff.
Smugglers.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Issa and Nor.
Oh yeah, you guys wanted to head to Issa.
They wanted to fight. That's what it was.
They told us we were dinner guests, so I don't really know what's happening.
So here's something fun. I actually have no idea what you're referencing. So my memory is very, very bad right now. Can someone please fill me in on exactly what this particular thing is?
We went through the jungle to approach the city from the backside, not from the dock side.
Yes. Okay.
Couldn't get over the wall without burning a bunch of spells, so we found a crack in the wall that looked like a smuggler's door. Avok chopped it open with an axe, and then we were crossbows, and no one attacked us yet.
Okay, I'm remembering this now. Fun thing about depression and anxiety. I have lost entire days of memories. Cool. So yeah, you guys. If I remember correctly, make any corrections that you need to. Did you guys go into the opening, or did they come out of the opening?
We had cracked open the door.
Okay.
So we're technically still outside. And somebody said, looks like we have some guests for dinner.
Aha, okay, yes.
But that's where we ended.
All right, so yeah, you guys are in the jungle. Kata, again, very much this is your playground. You know, this is where you feel most comfortable. But coming from behind you and around you and everywhere, almost simultaneously, you guys hear the familiar sounds of crossbow bolts being loaded into crossbows. You see from behind trees and on branches and things like that, people leaning out much further than it looks like gravity should let them. Which seems kind of awkward at first. And you see one gentleman in the middle wearing what looks like Fade. You would recognize this. It looks like a naval captain's coat, complete with rank and everything, but not in any sort of good condition. It's faded. There are cuts and there are holes in it. Looks like there's some red stains on it. You're thinking that this person, whomever they are, they're not a Ladrin, and you're thinking that they probably were not gifted this coat. But they wear it open, and underneath you can see just kind of a plain white tunic, and then red pants and what looks like a cutlass on one hip. And he's standing kind of out in the open, leaning against a tree, just kind of looking at you guys. And it's obvious that he is where the claim came from. So what would you guys like to do?
So there's nobody actually in through the door that we chopped into?
You can make a perception check, see if you can see inside.
Sure.
Where would I be? Am I close enough to make a perception check on my own?
Sure, Katsa, if you wanna look in as well. Willow, do you have dark vision?
Yes.
Okay. So peering in, you are remarkably surprised. Not only is it dark, you can't see in, which you're not used to. You're being a gnome, and especially working underground for the month that you did. Like you're very used to kind of switching between your regular vision and dark vision, and you do it very casually. And so kind of looking into this, you would expect to the places where the light doesn't reach just look black and white to you. And it doesn't. It's just black. It's just darkness.
Interesting.
And that's very bizarre. Kata, what about you?
25, but I don't have dark vision.
So for you, it's a very, very dark, it's a very, very dark hallway behind the door, dark enough that you can't even see how far back it goes. It's just completely black. And where you guys are currently, because the jungle basically encroaches almost right up to the city, it is midday, but there's enough foliage and cover and stuff like that that you're kind of in a mixture of bright light and dim light depending on where you're standing. So, yeah. What do the rest of you guys want to do?
Hello, friends. I think we got off to the wrong foot.
You know, I might be saying the wrong foot generally would not include breaking me damn door, making a ruckus that could have alerted all sorts of types that I don't want to be dealing with tonight. No, I would say that getting off on the wrong foot would probably be an understatement.
Fair enough. Let's go in and talk about it.
Oh, why in the world would we want to do that when we've got such a pretty day out here?
Because I'm not interested in killing you tonight.
Really? Boys? And you hear kind of mumbles from around. This knife here thinks that he has...
Misty stepped behind him with the god claws under his neck.
Okay.
Stop talking now.
As you do that, I would like you to make a grapple check. But I'm going to give you advantage because he wasn't quite expecting that.
Grog says natural 20.
Grog says natural 20. I think that means that I don't have to roll. So as you do that, you guys watch as Faye just kind of vanishes and appears behind and holds this gauntlet up to his neck. And you are not the kind of person that uses a human shield very often. But you have held people in compromising positions during training and stuff like that. And you're used to the body kind of... Generally, if you do something like this, the body will tense. And he hasn't. He feels like his body's not limp, but it's very relaxed. You don't hear him breathing any heavier or anything. He's just kind of standing there in a bit of an awkward position because you've kind of half nestled him to get your arm in the right position. And then you feel along the side and back of your neck the feeling of cold steel. Much, much colder than you're used to feeling from like just a regular sword or anything like this, almost to the point where you feel frostbite. And you hear from behind you, should I remove his head now, or should I wait for him to be full of bolts before I do that for you? And I would like Avok and Fade to make history checks for me.
History checks. What the hell? 9.
18.
Avok, something about that voice seems strange. And the accent itself, you've never heard before. And you've been all over the Isles. You never heard this accent before. Fade, on the other hand, you know this voice.
Hello.
It's unnerving because you were under the assumption that when the ship exploded, he perished.
Oh my God, cool.
Nice. Awesome.
So you feel this blade. You can, without looking, you can kind of tell it's a rapier. And it's incredibly sharp. And he's got it pressed against whatever vein it is that goes through your neck. So with a very quick flick of his wrist, you would be bleeding out.
Don't care.
And from what you can tell, it seems that you have not gotten any recognition from him. And so the guy that you now have your gauntlet on goes, so perhaps we can try this again. You've attempted to break into my stronghold. You've now attempted to threaten my own life. And now one of my good friends has just given you the best offer that you're probably ever going to get. Maybe even for the rest of your short life. How about you take this monstrosity of a pointy object away from me, step back very, very slowly, and we could talk about the terms of your surrender.
Do I feel as though if I move slowly, I can turn around to look at my friend here?
The blade is perched in a way that you can feel it's already technically cutting, it's already breaking skin.
Okay.
Any movement on your part will force the blade to do more than just like leave a line. It will pierce the vein. Like, this has been done in a very calculated way to where if you do anything other than move the way he wants, there isn't really a choice in the matter. The blade will instantly pierce your neck and you will have arterial blood flow. Which,
Okay.
as a cleric, may not be, isn't quite as dangerous as, like if it was happening to you as a person.
Not going to
But-
feel good.
Yeah, it would basically be you would basically be reduced to 0 hit points instantly and start making death saves from a mechanical
So
standpoint.
this is what Fade does. Fade has, in typical comic book fashion, he's got 2 of the blades up around the guy's neck.
Uh-huh.
The other one is not fully protruded. So I'm going to retract them, but keep the glove there, and kind of like spin around real slowly and see if I can get eyes on him.
Okay, so as you do that, the man that you were holding steps out of your grasp, kind of elbows you in the gut a little bit. Not enough to do any serious damage, but enough to kind of let you know who's in control here. And as he does that, you flinch a little bit and you feel pain as the blade sinks into your neck just a little bit more.
Okay.
So you have to kind of hold yourself very, very steady, despite the fact that you've just gotten, elbowed in the gut.
Okay.
And he steps away.
And I'm
and
gonna
you're
stop
able
moving.
Well, you're able to kind of turn around a little bit to face your attacker. He turns with you so that his blade stays where he wants it, but it gets to the point where you two can make eye contact, and you see him go, "Oh, zut alors."
This is
Merde.
your fault. Everything that's happened to me is your fault.
This is my fault. This is my fault. I come here, I try to stop the most evil empire that has ever existed, and you come and you blow up my ship, and then this is my fault. That is what you're trying to tell me now. And you, big dumb one, and he just kind of points at Avok. And you, where is the rest of your pathetic party that went and destroyed my ship, that went and killed my crew, forced me to join up with... And you watch him, like, almost say something and stop. These gentlemen...
Shit, it's you. I thought you were dead.
Captain, these men are dangerous. They deserve to die. And the guy sits there, kind of ponders for a moment. Well, seems to me that you've really pissed off me best mate here.
We
And I
beat your
tend to
best
take
mate.
his word for most things. He tends to be right more often than he's wrong. So,
When he came up against us, he was wrong, and he lost. By accident, he lost. We didn't even try.
well, sounds like you made a wee bit of an accident then, because he survived. And now he's part of me crew. He's a very valuable member of me crew. He keeps me alive. He keeps goods flowing where they're supposed to be flowing, despite your kind making things more difficult every single day. So if he tells me that you're better off dead, I tend to believe him. But now this is the thing that seems slightly bizarre to me. And perhaps my good friend can explain it, or perhaps you can explain it. You see, I've been dealing with Eladrin most of my life. You're a hard bunch to deal with. Your asses are puckered so tight. Shove a piece of coal up there and you'll have a diamond in a week. You think so highly of yourselves, your nose are pushed so far up in the sky that you start fainting from lack of oxygen. And yet this one here is traveling with a runt of a human, what looks like a wall of very poorly kept meat.
Fade would laugh a little bit too.
Shut up, Fade.
And what can best be described as a pest. And then a half-breed. You pick your friends very strangely, my Eladrin acquaintance. And again, I trust me friend with me life, but I must hear the story of how this merry band of brigands came together before we end it all, and then go about fixing the door that you just broke. Do you know how hard it was to get that door installed exactly the way we wanted, so that no one could see it from the other side, so that very few people could see it from this side, so that we had our own access into the city, and then you go and break the damn thing?
Have you seen the new Navy in the Platinum City? Have you dealt with them at all?
Do I deal with the Eladrin government?
Have you had to fight them? Have you had to run from them?
I generally don't deal with them. I avoid them whenever I can. That's why I have people like your friend here. He tends to make things easier as far as getting past Eladrin. He has a bit of experience dealing with them. So no,
look at
I
him.
don't deal with the Eladrin Navy, aside from the few vessels that I have arrangements with. As much as your people are stuck up pieces of shite, every so often a man has a price, and I'm more than willing to pay it if it means that I can get what I want.
How about we deliver you the entire Platinum City and all its spoils? Is that what you want?
And from behind you, you hear not only the man with the rapier still pressed against your neck, laughing, but you hear laughter from all throughout the jungle. Really, boys? One lone Eladrin, I don't even know what to call you. One lone Eladrin is going to deliver me the entirety of the Platinum City so I can cut it into tiny pieces and sell it off piece by piece. Oh, please, please, please tell me there's more to this story. It's getting better every second. Take aim, boys. I think this is going to be over very quickly.
I look at the Black Scourge, and I say, have you dealt with the flying ships or not? Have you seen their power? Have you seen what they can do?
And he looks at you and he goes, what are you talking about? They are no flying
Adrin have
ships.
launched their fleet
There are no flying ships. You cannot make a ship fly.
I point to
Yes,
the
we
gnome. I point to the gnome. He knows they can fly.
She.
Listen, you can tell me fairy tales until you are blue in the face.
They're not fairy tales.
I have sailed seas you could not imagine, filled with creatures out of your nightmares. Where
I'm
I
sure.
come from, there is no sunlight. There is only darkness and dusk at all times. The sea is not full of bounty. The sea is not full of food or life. The sea is full of death and destruction. And I came to this place somehow, some accident, some mistake, and found out exactly why it was that me and my people were trapped where we were. I found out what your people had done, that they had disrupted the balance of the entire universe for their own stupid, pointless gains. I know more about how to move through the air, through the water, through the earth than you will ever know. And I will tell you beyond a shadow of a doubt, you cannot make a ship fly. It does not exist. Captain, he is stalling for time. I say we should kill him now. Get this over with.
If they could change the rules of the world, how could they not make a ship fly?
They have changed nothing. They have broken. They have put up a wall. Anyone can put up a wall.
Yes, and I happen to be the one who makes ships fly.
Go ahead and roll me a charisma persuasion check.
9.
Yes, and I happen to be the one that makes the sun rise in the morning and set at the end of the night. That is my job. Your job is to make ships fly, and the stupid one here, his job is to make the world smell of rotting flesh and decay. So now that we have all described our jobs, perhaps we can kill you, fix the door, and go back to our merry lives, because the Eladrin are going insane right now, and we can do nothing but stick to what we are good at, which is prospering where we can and hiding when we cannot.
If you will not listen to our story, and I understand it's a hard one to listen to, maybe there's another way that we could speak for a little longer and prolong our lives. And Willow looks down on the ground and just grabs a piece of wood or a stone. We're in the forest, I assume there's something.
As you move quicker than they like, you hear a and right where you reach down to, the ground kind of explodes a little bit as a crossbow bolt lands right in front of you. Doesn't hit you or anything like that, but kind of just to let you know.
Sure.
But it doesn't prevent you from picking up a stone or anything like that.
Then I pick something up.
Had you been going for a weapon, it would have.
Sure.
The aim probably would have been different, you think.
Right. Then I pick up the stone and I concentrate for a moment and I start turning it into gold.
And then from behind you go, well, now that looks to be a bit of a rare gift.
She's full of surprises.
Serge, put the blade away. I think we might have some more uses for these than mere corpses. Captain, I do not recommend trusting them. Again, he is an Eladrin. That one used to fight for them. There is a half-breed. You cannot trust them.
Okay, what's wrong with that?
Serge. We'll take the proper precautions, but I like the little one that could change dull things into shiny things. It happens to be one of my favorite pastimes, only it generally takes a couple extra steps for me. At the bare minimum, we can figure out exactly how she did it. Perhaps replicate it, or, if we can't, use her as our own personal golden goose while we kill the rest of her friends here. Tie him up. We'll take him somewhere a wee bit more private. Continue having this conversation. So you start seeing a few people dropping from the trees coming forward with manacles and rope. What would you guys like to do?
How many are there?
Oh, okay. So I've just caught up. Are you doing what I think you are doing, Fate?
It didn't work.
It didn't
I
work.
rolled an 11. I needed a 10 on Divine Intervention, and I rolled a fucking 11.
Oh, okay. I thought I saw it, and I was like, oh,
So
Okay.
close, yet so far.
sorry. So you guys
Fine.
watch as Fade starts praying and stuff like that, and nothing seems to happen, but you see other people immediately kind of start to dogpile onto him as they see him start to, what looks like to them, having not really a whole lot of knowledge otherwise, what looks like you're trying to cast a divine spell. And so you
Sure.
feel a couple bodies
fine.
impact you. They start trying to kind of wrestle your holy symbol out of your hand. When they grab the gauntlet, it doesn't move. Like, the gauntlet itself is not particularly, as far as mechanically how it works, is not a particularly complex machine or anything. You know, it's a glove with a claw on it.
Sure.
But as they attempt to try and disarm it and take it from you, it doesn't move. I would like you to make a strength check, though. Strength athletics check. Well, that sucked.
I only have a +3 in that right now. And I rolled a total of 11.
That is really impressive.
Thanks.
Well, no, it's so if I continue rolling the exact way that I have just rolled, in 8 more rolls, I will reach double digits. I got a 1 and a 2. So they are attempting to pry your holy symbol out of your hand. You have a good enough grip on it that if you want to hold on to it, you can fight it. You get the idea that they're probably going to be upset if you have your holy symbol on you, but you're stronger than they are. So it's up to you. You can let them take your holy symbol, or you can continue to fight and see what happens next.
Well, I remember in the bar, the last time we fought these guys, we got knocked the fuck out. Well, that was actually the
You
crew
were
that we
much
killed by
lower
accident.
level.
For sure. I guess if I have a second struggling with them, I want to look at Avok and I want to see if I can insight what he's going to do. Because if he wants to go, I'm going to pop off. I don't care.
Okay, I'm going to have you roll an insight check.
All right.
Because you and Avok have been traveling together long enough that you guys would probably have a pretty good feel for each other. Okay. So, Avok, you see them coming towards you with manacles and rope and stuff like that. What do you want to do in this particular situation? And you do see Fade kind of look in your general direction with an idea of, it looks like he's ready to follow your lead.
I want to play with them. I'm gonna use intimidating presence.
Ooh.
How about you read the description of that for me? Because I don't remember what that does.
Alright, you can use your action to frighten someone with your menacing presence. When you do so, choose one. Oh, I can only choose one creature. That blows. One creature within 30. Alright, whoever's carrying the manacles, as I'm sure they're going to use manacles on me, I want to frighten that person.
Okay. There's you notice that for the 5 of you, there seems to be about 12.5 people coming to tie you up.
How many?
12.5, 18.
Okay.
So there are multiple people coming towards each one of you with manacles. They seem to be over. They seem to be over estimating how much of a struggle it's going to be to take you down. Probably not a bad idea with the fact that you just destroyed a pretty solid door. So if you want to, you can choose one of the people that's coming towards you with manacles. There are 2 people coming towards you with manacles, plus 2 people with rope. Simply because the Willow seems to be relegated to only 2 people going towards her, whereas with you being bigger and stronger, they sent the extra person that would have been going after Willow is going after you.
Figures.
Again, for some odd reason, they're not particularly worried about Willow, which may be a mistake. We'll find out in a second here, but they do seem worried about you.
Well, I want to scare the shit out of one of them. So
Okay.
you have to roll a wisdom saving throw and beat a 14.
Well, if I keep with how I have been rolling, this will be a 3.
What?
I rolled a 3. I am not kidding. The 3 rolls I've gotten from this die today have been 1, then 2, then 3. In order for this to work, I need you to describe. I'm going to need you to describe how you're going to scare this person.
Okay.
Despite the fact that mechanically it works, you're going to have to role play this.
That's fair. Okay. Okay, well, Avok's just like
I mean, it's
standing
not like it's
there,
hard to
like,
get me to fail a saving throw.
right. Avok's just standing there. Like his body's tense. Like he's not gonna like let them like move him easily. He's just gonna stare down one guy and be like, "Look thirsty, friend."
What did you say?
You look tasty, friend.
Okay. So as I love this image. I love this image. So this guy gets closer and they start grabbing your arms, and you are basically solid muscle. You're not an incredibly tall person, and you're not this like massively bulky. You are just solid muscle. And so as they come over and they start moving your arm, you can sometimes deceptively, because you are human compared to like, half orcs where they physically their skeletons are larger and stuff like that, so they just look more intimidating. Because you're human, some people will kind of mistake and underestimate the just massive amount of strength that you have. And so as they come over, they start trying to force your arms behind your back, and you're not moving. You're not struggling. You're just standing there. And your arms are far too far apart for the manacles to get on them. So you hear them click one manacle on you, and they try moving your other arm behind your back so they can get the other one, and it's not working. And as the guy is sitting there just like with all of his strength trying to move you, you just lean down really close and say, I bet you taste good. And you watch his face drain of blood, and he drops the manacle, and just starts walking backwards, seemingly against his own will. Like he does not seem to be in control of what he is doing. You start to smell the smell of ammonia in the air as he backs away. And he's just like he looks absolutely terrified and just keeps backing away. The other guys see this happening, and they start to get a little bit more aggressive and start attacking you. Fade, you see what he does. You have no idea what he said because he said it very, very softly, but you saw the reaction, and with a 12, that's enough for you to get the idea that Avok has decided not to go quietly.
Okay.
So,
Fifth level spirit
knowing that,
guardians.
what
Yep.
is your response to this?
Fifth level spirit guardians. Let's go.
Oh God.
All right. Does it have somatic components?
Yes.
Okay. Because you have a dog pile on you, performing the somatic components for it is going to be incredibly difficult. I need you to make the equivalent of a concentration check at disadvantage to see if you can kind of fight off enough to get the somatic components out. The material, you have your holy symbol. Damn.
15 at disadvantage.
Maybe I can roll a 4 now. By the end of this game, like, you guys are going to be getting 19s and 20s.
Uh-oh.
So you're able to do that. What do they look like? Describe to me what happens now.
All right. So as the claw isn't moving, and I've just been kind of sitting there, kind of letting it happen, them beyond me, just it kind of comes free just for a second, so that I can get this holy symbol up to my mouth. The shield blows out of it. Just I grab a little bit, and I quickly do the hand motions needed to cast Spirit Guardians. And I don't know how many there are, but
there's
we'll say like
they go out for, I think it's 10 feet. It's a 10-foot radius. So
yeah.
there's many as you want.
Whole bunch of spectral cars pop out.
Okay.
And they just go ape shit.
All right. So you watch as Fade sits there and kind of launches himself up. He was basically on the ground. He plants his foot underneath him, kind of launches himself up. As he does, the holy symbol springs to life, and the kind of glowing shield that it can become goes up and actually stops a manacle from being put on his wrist, because it then impacts the shield, and it's remarkably difficult to put a manacle on a shield. And as he does that, he kind of cries out, and you guys start feeling sick. Everyone around him start feeling this kind of sickly feeling come over you, and you see the area around him get slightly darker, and you feel it gets slightly colder around, and there's a bit of a cold wind that picks up, and then you start seeing these ghostly images of Scar that you guys recognize, but everyone else, they just see this white start appearing and just growing from the ground and kind of hovering around and flying around him as Fade's eyes are glowing with this deep indigo color. And as that happens, is it 15 instead of 10?
15.
It's 15?
Yep.
Thank you. It's a very large area for such a low-level spell, to be blunt. Because that's a 30-foot diameter area.
Mm-hmm.
You start seeing the men and everything start moving back. You do get 4 crossbow bolts shot at you. God, none of these are going to hit. What did I roll last time? I'm now up to 6. So that's
1,
a miss.
2, 3, 4, 6. That's not great, Jody. Come on, man.
17. Okay. So that with, I have to do math now.
I don't know if that hits me. I have to look at my new
24?
armor. Oh, okay.
I
24,
think
yes.
with 24 it would hit.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's one hit. 19.
19 to hits.
Okay.
That's 2.
And then that's an 18 on the die, so that's 3. So of the 4 crossbow bolts, one of them impacts your shield and shatters as it impacts it. The other 3 go thump, 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 and go straight through your new chainmail with the symbol of the Dark Lady on it. You take, is it heavy crossbow's a D8 or a D10? I think it's a D10.
I don't know.
I'm going to call it a
You tell me.
D10 just because they're good at this. So
Okay.
they were ready for you. That's a 1. Brings it up to 8. Wow, I roll awesome. 13 plus 25 total piercing damage from the 3 bolts.
So what I would like to do is to have the shield absorb all of it.
Absorb all of it. Okay.
Yep.
So as the arrows come in, the first one you deflect, and you see 3 more coming towards you. And as you feel them kind of pierce your skin, you focus on your holy symbol, and the shield itself glows, and you see impacts on the shield in the same pattern as where the bolts hit you. You see dents in the spectral shield, and you feel a little bit of its energy wane a bit. How much damage? What would average damage for Spirit Guardians be? At the level you cast it at, because I don't know what level you cast it at.
At 5th level is 5d8, so 16 plus, so 20-ish.
Let's say 20. Okay, cool. So everyone around you, other than your allies, you see them, these spectral whites come up and start slashing at people, and you see them, the wounds themselves being dark and looking almost immediately infected as they get hit by this. You suddenly see your good friend come rushing at you with his rapier. So this would definitely be the time to do that. Math is hard. 23?
That hits.
Okay.
AC is 19.
So we're going to start with just the damage of the rapier itself, and then bad shit's going to happen.
Yep.
7 and 5 is 12. So we start with 12 piercing damage. He's going to do an additional 6. Eight cold damage. And yes, I need a concentration check made with disadvantage.
Well, if that's the case, I will use the rest of my shield's absorbing property minus 1 hit point. So I'll take 14 damage off of that 20. So I need a 10 with disadvantage. I rolled a 10 and a 23.
Okay.
So I am concentrating.
Swings around very quickly and stabs at you again. That is 19.
Hits.
Math is hard. Stay in school, kids. 12 plus 12 piercing plus 6 frost damage and another disadvantage concentration check.
Will do.
If you can name the feat,
Mage Slayer.
13.
you are doing very, very well. He has only 2 attacks.
Still
and-
concentrating. Thankfully.
He does that. You see the captain immediately jumps back after being attacked from it. And
Speed is halved.
yeah, but he wasn't very close to you. He was probably at the very edge of the range of this when it happened. So jumping back was like it took 10 feet of movement. Willow and Kata, as
Yes.
Avok does what he does and Fade does what he does, you two are kind of presented with, what do you want to do in this moment in time? You've seen this person that neither of you two recognize going straight for Fade and kind of hitting him deep and seeming to shrug off almost completely these spectral figures as they had tried to attack him. He seemed almost unaffected by them. And the captain himself stepped back a little bit and still does not seem like he still seems very casual.
How many people are around us?
Yeah,
From what
how
you
many?
can see, there are 18 people on the ground plus
Okay.
the guy attacking Fade, whom the captain is called Serge, and the captain. You know that there are more people in the trees.
Right.
You don't know how many. A quick perception check could tell you just how many you can
Okay.
currently see if you would like to do that.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Oh.
That's a one.
Yeah, it's chaotic enough that you can't really
Yep.
focus on the
Okay.
trees.
And I'm short.
There are
15.
tons of people around you. Kata, a little bit better. You scan. You notice a lot of movement in the trees. You pick out probably at least half a dozen different people, but there's so much movement, and you're hearing crossbow bolts shooting from the air and people jumping from tree to tree that it's impossible to really track how many people are out there. But you know for a fact that you've seen at least 6 distinct other people that are still in the trees. And there's probably more.
Okay.
And again, with your
Kata
15,
is
you still notice
conflicted on
that
what to do.
the captain does not seem upset about this.
Okay.
So, Willow, what would you like to do?
Seeing as it seems we're no longer choosing the diplomatic route, I'm going to cast Conjure Minor Elementals and put out. Let's see. Let's do 8. They're of a. And have. Let's see. How many people are on Fade right now? Is it still a dog pile or just the?
There
Okay.
was 4 people on him before. Now there's a 5th, and he
Alright.
has a couple. The weird thing about it, he has a couple crossbow bolts sticking out of him that the wounds aren't bleeding, which is weird.
Okay. Well, I'm going to send 4 of them over to attack people attacking him. Keep one with me. Send
What are you creating specifically?
minor elementals.
Yes,
Do you
that
need me to
is.
pick a?
I get to pick them.
No, I mean, I don't know. I can pick what type if you would like.
All right,
It just
let's
says
see how
conjure
this
minor.
is. Conjuring spells. I think I banned those from my games.
The
Especially since you guys aren't in any sort of so conjure minor elemental, right?
Mm-hmm.
Conjure woodland beings, minor elementals. How many are you making?
8.
8. So you're challenge rating 1/4 or lower. So those are basically methods, I think.
Okay.
Let me look.
Yeah, that would be mud, smoke, or steam method.
Yeah, so mud, smoke, or steam. What do you want?
Smoke.
Smoke. So you see these kind of smoky creatures start to come up and they start to try and latch on. I'm going to have you just make one attack roll for all of them to make things just go faster.
Okay.
Because again, this isn't really combat as much as it is just
Sure.
a giant dick measuring contest right now.
Oh,
What do I add to that?
Just roll a d20 and tell me what you got. I'm not
It's
gonna.
a
I know
4.
that their attack bonus is like 4 or 5. It's minuscule.
Well, it does nothing.
yeah, it's 4.
Okay, so yeah, they come over and they start trying to swarm these people, and they just kind of bat them off without too much focus on them whatsoever. Since they count as allies, Fade's stuff doesn't hurt them. Kata, you see these creatures of smoke and shadow just kind of appear as Willow concentrates, which is slightly unsettling as Fade is conjuring these ghostly, whites that are floating around attacking people and seem to be ignoring you. And you have 2 people that have already started trying to put manacles on you. But when everything started, they kind of stopped mid-process. So you have a manacle on one wrist right now. And they were in the process of trying to force your arms behind you to put the other manacle on. And they stopped as everything went to crazy shit. So, what do you want to do?
Me?
Yes.
Oh,
There's
are
nothing
they?
really limiting you. You have 2 people right next to you.
Okay, they're closing in on me.
They're right next to you. They were the people that were trying to tie you up, so they're literally right next to you. They just when shit hit the fan, they kind of stopped thinking about restraining the little human girl that probably weighs like 90 pounds soaking wet. They just turned away from you and looked towards the dude that's summoning the undead and the woman that's summoning shadows and the human that seems to be able to make someone piss himself by just whispering. For some odd reason, they're not focusing on you.
Love it.
They're gonna have another thing to worry about soon. I put my wall-shaped pieces and turn into an air elemental.
Restrain that, motherfuckers.
So you feel the manacle tighten around your wrist, and you get this little smirk, and you suddenly start focusing, and you look around, and again, you felt this kind of cold air blow as Fade started summoning this undead army from somewhere that you have no idea where. This is, I think this is the first time you've ever used this spell, right, Fade? At least the first time in a long time.
First time.
And so you were unaware that he could command an army of whites to just appear. And so as you sit there, you try to kind of focus in on yourself, and you start to feel kind of your connection to nature grow stronger, and you start to feel the earth beneath you, and you can feel the heat of the core of the world far below you, and you can feel the water that at this very moment is far away but surrounds this entire island, and you can feel the air start to kind of penetrate your body and kind of surround you, and you kind of give yourself in to the air itself around you. And as that happens, you feel your form become lighter and you start to grow. And you notice that your fingers start to disappear and are replaced by torrents of wind. You watch as the manacles just fall lifelessly to the ground as your wrists disappear, and you suddenly can feel the power of air and a tempest contained inside of you, just barely held under control by sheer force of your own will. As you do that, you have an attack where you enter somebody's square, if I remember correctly.
I
Because the two people that were... You are now...
I try to go between the
well, when
two
you
people
become
who
the air elemental, the two people that were next to you, because an air elemental is a large creature, you are now inhabiting the same square they are. So whatever that attack is, roll it, because they're going to be affected by it just from you transforming.
I'm gonna use whirlwind.
Go for it.
You have to make a strength saving throw.
Strength save. I'm doing very well on strength saves, and these guys look very, very strong. What's the DC?
13.
Well, there's the 5 I was missing from before. One saves, the other one does not.
Points of bludgeoning damage, and the one that failed is flung up to
to me, throw him to me.
20 the elemental in a random direction, and it is not prone.
I didn't hear the damage. What was the damage?
13.
13, thank you. So you watch Fade make me a dexterity saving throw.
Very well, good sir.
I like where this is going.
Unnatural 20.
So you hear this sound of a tornado to your side, and you watch as Kata disappears, and you see in her place this torrent of wind and lightning energy just there as she transforms in a way you've never seen her before. And the two people right next to her, the first one, you see him just kind of get battered and pushed out of the square, and the other one comes flying towards you.
Man, you guys are fucked.
And you have enough of a warning to decide what you want to do as someone is coming flying towards you.
Dodge him?
Okay, that's the simple way.
Yeah.
You duck, he flies over you. So as all of this is happening, Avok, that it did take an action for you to do the scare thing, right?
It did.
Okay, so everyone has basically used an action. You see the captain very calmly take his scimitar, and you didn't quite notice that, or not scimitar, I'm sorry, cutlass, that on the hip opposite the cutlass is a ball. Very ornate, looks to be made of platinum or something very similar to it, some sort of precious metal. And he simply takes the ball out, and on the very top of the ball, there seems to be a depression or something. And he simply pushes it, and everything stops. Kata, you immediately feel your human shape return. Fade, all of the magic around you just stops. Willow, all of your mephits just vanish in puffs of smoke. Avok, you have nothing, no magical effects currently happening right now, so you don't really feel that much different. You do feel the axe itself does not quite feel as powerful as it did a few moments ago. However, because you have something special, Fade, I need make a spell attack roll.
Wait, who? What?
Fade.
Oh.
He has something special, unfortunately, so this doesn't work the exact way it's supposed to on him.
25.
So as your spell fizzles and everything, you watch your shield disappear. Your holy symbol stops glowing the way it's supposed to.
Uh-oh.
Like you feel no connection to magic whatsoever, even to the point where as you look around, you feel as if there is no magic around you. Like all magic has just ceased to exist. But you suddenly start feeling your arm itself feels very, very warm, and you see that your weapon is glowing. So your AC lowers by 2 because you no longer, or by 3, whatever it is without your shield.
Okay, yeah.
Because your shield is gone.
Yep.
There is no change to your weapon. It is working exactly the way it normally does.
Can I hit the rune
What rune?
on my gauntlet? Is that what's glowing, or is it the whole
thing?
gauntlet itself?
Like there is
Okay.
an indigo glow to the item itself.
Okay.
You have never seen this. You are not aware. You're aware of certain magics that can create what's called a null magic zone. You've never heard of a device that could do that. But there is no magic anywhere right now except your gauntlet. And
Okay.
it feels weird. It feels very, very weird.
Okay. This is fun.
And when that happens, you see Serge pull his rapier up again to strike you, and you hear, "Hold on for a second here." And it's the captain again, and he walks right up to Fade, and he kind of grabs your gauntlet and just looks at it. Doesn't try to take it off. It's not like an aggressive, like wrestling or anything. He just sits there and looks at it. And as soon as his hand touches it, you watch him kind of recoil a little bit, as there's a little bit, almost like an electric charge on it, kind of goes off. And he goes, "Now that is impressive."
Are you ready to talk yet?
I was ready to talk before. I just didn't like the idea of having you armed. But this changes things. This is something I've never seen before.
Avok just walks forward nonchalantly. That's an impressive little toy. But, yeah, you've seen a fraction of what we can do. Now imagine if all of us were on your crew, fully prepared.
I'm not looking for more people to join me crew, and to be perfectly honest, that one there and you have a price big enough on your heads right now that you wouldn't be worth having on me crew. But that, and he points to your gauntlet, that shouldn't happen. I've dealt with Eladrin magic for years. How do you think I've grown the empire that I have? And I've never seen in the entirety of my life Eladrin magic that can exist when magic stops. The weave is broken here. It doesn't exist. That is not possible. And for me, that is enough to have a conversation. Now, you're going to have to forgive me. You've broken me door. You've attacked me men. And one of me best mates has told me to kill you. We're not going to talk about whatever in the hell you did to him.
Size them up.
So you're going to have to forgive me if I can't trust you.
Whatever.
However, you've intrigued me enough that if you will voluntarily disarm yourselves, I give you my word as a captain. You will not be mistreated, you will not be hurt, and you will be allowed to leave on your way after we have this discussion that you want to have.
We go on our way with her stuff when we're done with this. Don't think I'm that stupid.
I can't be taking you into me most secretive of places, having all this power at your disposal. Now, I think this is a grand, grand thing. But my patience is starting to run thin. I'm trying to offer you a wee bit of an olive branch. But you're in my territory right now. You're in my world. And you've come in here and slapped me in the face and then told me that I just have to take it. Now, I don't react very kindly to things like that. I've worked far too hard to get to the position I am to allow anyone to treat me that disrespectfully. So I'm going to ask you one more time. Voluntarily give up your weapons. Aside from perhaps that one there, which looks like it doesn't want to be given up as he points to your gauntlet. Come with me.
Yep.
We'll sit down across a table, have a bit of a drink, and discuss whatever it is that you want. You can watch your weapons. You can tell them exactly how to care for them, but I am not going to take you into me home with weapons and the ability to kill all me men. It's not happening.
I start unlinking my 6 different hammers, toss them on the ground in front of him, mace off the back, toss it on the ground, grab my holy symbol. This does not leave.
We'll see.
I'll put it away for now, and I put it within the armor.
Just make sure that it doesn't happen to do anything while we're in there. How does that sound? And then he kind of looks to the rest of you guys waiting. Despite the fact that Kata, I don't think you have really a weapon.
I don't have a weapon, no.
So, and Willow, do you have any sort of weapon on you?
I have a dagger,
Okay.
which I will happily
So
pull
one of
out
them just
and
reaches.
kind of-
They don't take the dagger from you. They just reach. One
Uh-huh.
of the men just reaches their hand out expectingly for the dagger.
She offers it up. She hates this feeling of not having any magic and wants it to end as soon as possible.
Okay. And Avok, you see another guy come over and just kind of hold out his hands for your axe.
Good grief.
It's okay, buddy.
Yeah. Avok hands him his light hammer first,
Okay.
then his 2 javelins, then the +1 longsword, and his great axe. And he tells
So
him,
you're just
as he's handing
you're
his
taking
great
these
axe,
weapons out. Oh, wait a minute. What? Yeah. Yeah.
as he's handing him the great axe, I better get these back, you little shit.
And you see him under kind of the weight of it, just kind of that, and another person comes over and takes about half of it, simply so none of it falls. And then the captain makes a very grand kind of gesture to the door that you've just broken, and clicks the button on the sphere, and you guys feel the world start to become normal again. You can feel the presence of magic around you.
Can I not quick, but as we walk by, can I kind of head nod Kata over here, and can we mend the door as we walk in?
Yeah, sure.
I have mending too, actually.
As you guys go towards the door to attempt to mend it, you guys start to realize that there is something about the door that there's a magical aspect to the door that mending is not going to fix.
Okay.
Do I know what it is?
Roll me an Arcana check.
I'm rolling like shit. Well, that's an 11.
There's something arcane at work within the like the door itself was built with arcane something, and with you being a gnome, and the fact that you've imbued items with magic before, you've seen things like this happen. You've never seen it done to a building. Generally, you imbue magic items with arcane properties, not like walls or doors. It seems kind of counterintuitive. Beyond that, you get the idea that the only reason that Avok was able to break it was because he had a relatively powerful magic weapon that did the breaking.
Gotcha. Okay.
So you guys are brought in. As soon as you enter the doorway, you are in total darkness for just a brief moment, and then instantly there are lights around you, and you see more people in here, basically armed to the teeth, that seem to be ready to kind of come out at a moment's notice.
That's cute.
And none of them seem to be moving towards you since, like, in the middle of your group, the captain is kind of walking with you and kind of trudging behind you with his hand still on his rapier, is Serge. And they lead you through these different pathways and stuff like that to the point where none of you are dwarves, right? Yes. You actually really don't know where you are anymore. Like, there's so many turns and it happens so quickly that you actually kind of get lost. And you think it's done that way on purpose. And you eventually get to a relatively large room where you smell meats cooking, you smell the familiar smell of alcohol, along with bread and some cheese and things like that. You see a very large table, like a long table, and you notice that, like everywhere else you've been going through, it's all wood, it's all dilapidated and stuff like that. The table in front of you is very, very fine stained oak. The chairs themselves are carved immaculately. They have gold trimmings and things like that. Like this fade, you would have seen something like this in a noble house. You were not expecting it to see anything like that in here. And so the captain, once he gets in the room, he simply goes to the head of the table at the fanciest looking chair, sits down, gestures for you to sit down as well.
I'll have Scar pull out my chair.
Oh, I forgot Scar existed.
Scar? Nah, I'm not even going to start questioning.
I don't know. Because the magic just animates them.
Yeah.
So zombies can exist without magic because it's undeath. It's not magic. So if anything, he would be up, but not under my control, I guess. If that's how you want to roll.
What I would like you to make another spell attack roll just to see if you regained control once magic existed again. Yeah, you're fine.
15.
So for a little bit, he just started lashing out when that thing happened, and he got tackled by a few guys. And due to the fact that he was undead, they didn't actually have to worry about like hurting him. So instead of just tackling him, they just put daggers into like his legs and stuff like that to keep him from moving.
How rude.
Well, again, it was a corpse where there was tons of them flying around. They had other things to deal with.
Fair enough. So yes,
Um,
then I sit down. He pushes me in,
Okay.
fold my hands on the table, and see what everyone else does.
So immediately, a person wearing kind of general ship's attire, tunic, leather boots, pants, something that you would see generally on a ship somewhere, throws a towel over his arm and does his best impression of what you assume is his best impression of a waiter, and goes, What would the masters and mistresses like to drink? We've got the finest selections of blinding beverages.
I'm fine, thank you, sir.
And he kind of scoffs at you.
No, I have not had ale in so long. If you got that shit, I'm happy.
And ale appears in front of you. Someone just kind of slams a mug down in front of you, splashes it a little bit. Very quickly, all pretense is given up, and they just start putting food in front of you guys, kind of banquet style, where they put a plate that you're not exactly sure how clean it is, but you don't see anything actively growing on it, and then there are plates of freshly cooked food and bread and cheeses and stuff like that, just put in front of you with serving utensils and things like that. And you notice that the head of this little group just kind of fills his plate and starts munching and goes, So, you seem to be under the impression that you have something that I seem to want. And while that trick over there with the lass and that turning the rock into gold is, well, it's a fascinating trick. I've seen it done once or twice before, and I know exactly how it works. But it can have its uses. But that claw thing that you've got on your hand there, that is something that defies definition. Now you know. Your faces are known all over the Empire. There isn't a single Eladrin city you could walk into without immediately being shot dead where you stood. She would be completely worthless to me as part of me crew. So what is it, pray tell, that you think you can offer me that would have any value?
First of all, you may be misinformed. You are correct in that we are wanted everywhere we go. But we do walk into cities. Look at Olgoth. We did that there. That city, when we left.
You mean the city that is now a smoking ruin where
Yes.
no one lives? Because
Yes.
the Eladrin came in and killed every man, woman, and child in the entire
Because
city.
they couldn't hold it.
And
So they destroyed it.
You're proud that innocent women and children are now dead because of what you did. Oh,
I'm
this is
proud of
making me
nothing.
feel even better about working with you.
Willow has just stopped eating. Just looks distraught.
Kata is confused.
We're wanted, yes. We're not caught. They've done everything they can. We've outsmarted them at every pass. We walked in here willingly when you
so did the rest
meant
of
to
me,
kill
man.
us.
I never meant to kill you. He wanted me to kill you. Seems that you might have a bit of a past. I'm simply upset that you destroyed something that took an awful lot of gold to get completed. Do you know how expensive that dar was? Do you know how
No.
difficult it is to get someone skilled enough in abjuration and illusion magic to build something like that?
I'm sorry that had to happen.
So what is it that you're offering me? As he fills his face with more food.
I told you what I'm offering you. The Platinum City.
See, that's where the disconnect comes from, because I've been to the Platinum City. It's a beautiful city for what it is. But it's the seat of the Eladrin Navy. It's where almost every Platinum Rapier calls home. The most powerful wizards and sorcerers in the entire kingdom just happen to live there for fun. And according to this short one here, they now have a fleet of flying ships. Not
Yes.
to mention the Council of One, whom no one has seen in centuries, and yet still can exert his will thousands of miles away. How in the world are you simply going to deliver this city to me?
Piece by piece, brick by brick, you will take the walls down. That's what we've been doing. That's what we will continue to do.
Yes, it
I
has
look at
worked
Willow.
remarkably well. You have a city that was razed to the ground by your enemies that you turn tail and run from.
I look at Willow. I say, how much does it cost to build one of those ships?
They're made from pure electrum, more than I could fathom.
I look at him. They brought those ships to get us, to kill me, to kill us. We sent them running, and we took two of their most prized possessions down with them. If you want the wreck, if you'd like to salvage, I can tell you where to go get the remains of two ships of pure electrum. Is that something you'd be interested in?
And now you see the wheels in his head start turning. You didn't notice before, which again is something very, very bizarre to all of you, especially you, Avok, just because, again, with danger sense and everything, you tend to be very observant in general. You notice that Serge is standing next to him, and he whispers into his ear, and he just, will you stop it now? I understand you don't like the blasted baggers. They've already shown that they're going to be a pain in the ass to kill. I've got the men to do it, but it's simply not worth it right now. And if they've got ships made entirely of electrum that I can just salvage, well then, I mean, that's quite a bit of money. I guess it all depends on where it is, because if you're going to tell me that these ships are in the middle of the Platinum City, I'm going to tell you that it's been a wonderful meal, enjoy it. It's probably going to be your last. And I'm not going to be the one that's going to end your life. It's going to be your own stupidity.
Out of character.
Yeah.
How long did it take us to get here?
A week.
Just a week with our little ship raft. Okay.
From like hopping island to island, roughly a week.
Okay. I look at Willow. How long would it take them to remove that salvage if they came back for it?
I mean,
Roll a history check.
okay.
They were in no condition to be repaired, so they'd have to break it apart and take it.
Does this count as a history check about a magic item?
Yes, we can say that.
Right. 13.
13. Good enough. You're thinking a week would have been plenty of time for them to at least start a salvage operation, especially if they use the flying ships. And with just the massive amount of Electrum there, yeah, you think that it would probably take, depending on other things that they have to worry about, you're thinking it would probably take them maybe another week to get the remaining pieces of it back to the Platinum City. If there was something more pressing, it may have taken them longer because they had other things to deal with. But, you know, if their only focus was to get the remains of these ships back to the Platinum City, 2 weeks would be easy for them, especially with the rest of the flying ships.
Okay. Then I will be honest with him and I will say, if you're quick about it, there's plenty of salvage to have. You just have to go get it. And we can tell you where it is. But we're making our way south.
So what is it that you're going to be wanting from me for this valuable knowledge?
We need a ship. Doesn't have to be a great ship. We just need something to reach open waters. We got here, I'll be honest, with the skin of our teeth. But we did it by choice. We didn't have to come this way. We're choosing to go this way.
Aye, that little skiff that you came here on, it's not going to get you much farther.
And that's what I'm here to see you about.
So you want me to just give you a ship? Give 5 people a ship? I could give you a rowboat. 5 people could easily pilot that, but if you're talking to be an actual, real ship, one that could traverse the oceans, one that could sail, 5 people cannot pilot a ship.
We have friends. Or, I mean, if you're looking to open new trade routes, we're going somewhere that previously was probably off the table for you.
Really? And where might that be?
Oh, we're heading south, as I said, and I know there's at least one place that the Eladrin don't go, and I'm sure it'll be plenty profitable should you want to.
So wait a minute. You're telling me that an Eladrin, a half-breed, a gnome, and a pair of humans are going to breach the gates of Draconis and meet with the Dragonborn? People that haven't been seen outside of their capital city in, 200, 300 years? I see what this is now. You're delusional. You have been touched by a god, and she has stolen part of your mind. That's what this is. That makes perfect sense. Serge, I'm understanding why it is you have such a dislike for these people. This has been absolutely entertaining. But what you're talking about is not suicide. It is not stupid. It is not insanity. This is simply impossible.
Have you heard word of the giant golden dragon that has surfaced? Have you heard tale of his comings and goings?
And you see him stiffen up a little bit. Though I'm curious to know exactly how you are aware of that.
I personally, with these hands, helped to free him. He is our ally. We have a champion of his with us. You don't seem to understand. The Eladrin won't be around for that much longer. I am the exception. As you know, I am the outcast, being the last one.
I'm not going to part with one of me ships
Then take
for
us.
something so crazy. But you've got to be interested. See, I am aware of this great golden dragon. I'm also aware of the wounds that cover the majority of his body. The fact that he spends the majority of his time resting, attempting to regain what it is that he used to have. If I wanted him, I could have sent me men to kill him, gut him, and bring his skull to me as a trophy. It simply was not worth the effort. So to claim that you have a half-dead dragon with little to no power, and somehow that means you are going to be able to topple an army that has ruled the kingdom for near 5 centuries, is not enough to convince me of anything. Nor is it enough to make me want to give you one of me ships. One of me very valuable ships, because these ships allow me to make the profits that I do, that allow me to continue to live the lifestyle that I like to live. But I do enjoy watching pompous, arrogant, shit for brains Eladrin fail. So how does this sound for you? We'll take my ship. I'll take you to the great dragon gates themselves. Watch you fail, and then leave you there to do with whatever in the hell you want.
Okay. You know what? I think I've been telling enough. Man, you talk a lot.
Aye, it's one of the privileges of being the leader of such a talkative group as this.
Lovely. Okay, well, Draconis, I guess Fade forgot about the other thing we planned on doing, but Draconis was on our list. But our little stop we like to make. Add a character, Jody. What was that dwarven area like just east of Issa and Nor?
It was another dwarven city. You guys don't know the name of it.
That's fair.
It's sunken dwarven city.
How familiar are you with dwarven cities of the past?
Well, to my knowledge, there are no dwarven cities. They were barely a seafaring race, with a few villages scattered here and there before the Eladrin civilized them, or at least that's what they'd like you to believe. And thus far, I haven't found anything to prove me wrong, so...
Oh, that's fair. The cities did sink, but they had some interesting magics about them that kept them going. Well, the people dead, but the city sort of into one of those places, and we found some interesting things there. And if I recall correctly, there's another one east of Issa Nor. Plenty of profit you can gather from there.
Do I still have the map, or does Elaine have the map?
I'll say you've got it.
Okay.
Just to make things easier, since Elaine.
Okay.
Hey, well, why don't you pull out the map?
I was gonna do that. So I pull it out and lay it down on the table.
And he kind of looks at it and he moves the wheel a little bit. Well, it's very fascinating. It seems to be a bit worthless. And I'm already familiar with how the constellations move across the sky. Then I need a map to tell me exactly how to pilot by the stars now.
No, it's proof that they have been there. It's an ancient dwarven map.
Hi, and I can show you ancient dwarven many things. They'll sell for a couple of gold to the right dwarf if you can talk them into it.
We have to
You
show you
talk of
everything.
fairy
for you to
tales
fucking
and-
believe us.
Final offer. You want to go to Draconis. You want to go to the Great Dragon Gate. Listen to them ignore your pleas over and over and over again. I'll take you there. This idea of some majestic dwarven city that's going to make me rich. I'm already rich. I've been rich for a very long time, and I intend to remain that way, whether it's the Eladrin in power, or dwarves, or humans, or gnomes, or rats, or whomever the hell decides to take over this pathetic collection of refuse next.
Aren't you a fucking peach?
So that's the deal. You want to get to Draconis, I'll take you there. I'll watch you fail. Even leave you a nice little rowboat so that you don't drown immediately. You might be able to make it to one of the islands around there. Maybe Amonbel. I'm sure the Eladrin there won't have any issue with you at all. They'll give you a nice warm meal, pat your bellies, tuck you in at night to make sure that everything is all right, and then let you go free.
I think that's exactly how it'll go.
Fine.
So I agree. Let's do this. I'd like for you to watch me fail, but I won't.
You, and he points to one of the guys. Oi, sir, what would you like? Go ahead and find these new friends of ours somewhere to sleep for the night. And he turns to Willow and Kata. I would say they should probably have separate quarters from the rest of the general populace. It's nothing personal against you, but quite a few of these boys, it's been a while since they've seen any of the fairer persuasion around them, and well, it's simply common courtesy now, isn't it? The other ones, you can sleep with the rest of the men. We leave tomorrow before dawn.
Whatever.
Anything else you guys want to say, do, before dinner is over? Lunch, dinner.
Scar has not taken his eyes off of the Scourge here. Like when he walked up, he just follows him back. And I think I'm gonna nod to the captain and look at the Black Scourge and just kind of just stare at him. See if I can goad him into doing something stupid.
He doesn't seem to be reacting to you as much. He doesn't seem to have like an extreme hatred of you or anything like that. If anything, his suggestion from before just seemed like sound advice.
Okay.
Which, were you in his position, you probably would have given the same advice, knowing what you can do. Again, you are not the kind of person that you would not want to face you on the other side of the battlefield. So, yeah, you think it's less personal vendetta, more he knows what you guys are capable of, and doesn't think you're worth the hassle. Now that that's been taken off the board, he's just there. You do notice, go ahead and, we're going to, I'll have everyone make me retroactive perception checks.
Okay.
Because there would have been something you would have noticed.
I have rolled
Apparently-
four.
We'll start with
times.
Avok. Avok, what'd you get? 1? All right, you didn't recognize it. Will?
6. I rolled a 4 times tonight.
Fade?
Well, my fucking white is more perceptive than I am. He got a 19.
Okay. He actually would not, this would not have been something that he would have noticed, so.
Okay. I'm sitting at 12.
Okay. Kata.
17.
Okay. Kata is the only one that noticed this. And even right now, your blood was chilled a little bit. When the captain pressed that button and magic stopped existing for a moment, you glanced over to the man with the rapier that the captain is called Serge. And for most of the time that you guys have been dealing with him, he looks very similar to Eladrin. His facial shape is different, but you know, there's something about him that doesn't seem quite Eladrin, but he's obviously Elven, and he's not Wood Elven, and he's not High Elven, so he kind of seems like an Eladrin. But when you looked over during that period of time where there was no magic, his skin was ebony black, and his hair was shock white. And as soon as the magic started again, he now looks the way he has before. He has this kind of darkish black hair and a very average skin tone for most Eladrin. A little bit more tan than your general Eladrin, since they a lot of times tend to spend a lot of time indoors. But other than that,
She realized what this means.
she would have never experienced it like that.
Yeah.
That would be the first time. Not only you have ever seen someone that looked like that, you've never actually heard of anyone looking like that before. Like even
Okay.
stories,
Yeah,
anything.
that's what I thought.
To your knowledge, there's something massively wrong with this person for them to have such a strange departure from the norm. The rest of you guys were a little bit caught up in the fact that he turned magic off with a button to really focus on it.
I really need that, by the way. We need to give it to Avok.
So, anything else you guys want to do during dinner?
I'm going to eat.
You guys, plenty of food. The food is phenomenal. This is the best that you guys have eaten since, especially since whenever you would return to camp because of the druids and everything, it was mostly vegetarian fare. There wasn't a ton. Like, it was vegetables and fish is what you guys have been eating, and then, you know, rations for months and months and months. And this is venison and roast and roast pig and uh, just foods that you're not even familiar with, that you've never eaten before, but just smell amazing, and it's seasoned well, and the bread has honey baked into it, and like this is just the best spread you guys have had, other than maybe Willow before you were
But it's been a
captured.
while.
So listening to that conversation, because it's just gonna dig in the entire time they're talking.
So, yeah, you guys feel great
Willow.
after the meal.
Yep. They bought down a bunch. Ooh.
The
Ooh,
ale
ooh.
is good. It's not, again, Avok. You don't quite have the palate to be able to tell like the best from just really good. But it's really good.
Was there
Yeah.
wine too?
There was whatever you wanted. Again, this is a unique situation where it seems to be that these people have so much more than they need that they can live in excess. And that's not something you guys have seen anywhere outside of the Platinum City, or like Eladrin noble houses. Even the Eladrin that live outside the Platinum City tend to have to live a little bit leaner, unless they are, a high-ranking noble or something like that. So, seeing just kind of the excess, and the fact that a lot of this food is probably going to go to waste and is going to be thrown away, just because of the sheer volume of it, speaks volumes to how well these people are doing.
Would I have, or would we, any of us have heard of, like I guess, a black market or something like that these guys might be like this has to be some kind of network. If they have this kind of supplies, they have ships. He said he's built an empire and has kept it. There's got to be some kind of whisper of who this guy could be.
You personally would not know. Just because you grew up in the Platinum City and you wouldn't have really have dealings with it, because your life was spent in piety, basically. Avok, you probably were aware that there were ways to get things other than official channels. You're not aware of the presence of some underground like black market or anything like that, but you have seen things appear, and you have gotten supplies in places where it shouldn't have been possible. So you know that the Eladrin don't control everything.
Yeah, back in my soldier days, we had a good friend, good comrade of ours named Red who got us shit. You can always find a way to get it.
There's that one guy that knows how to get stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You
Keep forgetting
knew
that.
you knew the guy that could get stuff. You had no idea how he did it, though. But the idea of there being this like giant, black market empire never crossed your mind. Which again would be, if it weren't for the fact that you are seeing the benefits of it in front of you right now, you would think that he was lying, because something that big existing without the Eladrin knowing about it just doesn't seem possible, especially for you, Fade, because again, despite how much you've grown and learned over your adventures, you were raised as an Eladrin, you were taught as an Eladrin, you still have that mindset that Eladrin are the most civilized, are, that is ingrained in you. And so just the idea that something like this could exist without the Eladrin knowing about it seems unfathomable to you. But again, you have proof of it in front of you. So you have this kind of ambivalent thought process going on. It's definitely something that now that you are aware of it, you can see possibilities, let's say. And you can explain certain things that didn't quite make sense when you were younger. But you would have never in a million years connected the dots without seeing it in front of your face.
I'd like to go over by Kata.
Okay. You guys are all seated right next to each other.
Okay,
No
I
one
just
else-
kind of lean
by the way,
over.
No one else, like there are tons of people in this room. It is a relatively large room. They're all standing by the walls no one else other than you is eating. You and the captain, even Serge, is just standing there. No one else has touched a drop of a single bit of food, a drop of ale, nothing. They have just stood there in silence while you guys ate.
Oh, that's weird. That's weird. I lean over to Kata like, did you just turn into air? Is that a thing that just happened?
I guess so.
That was fucking amazing.
Thank you.
Willow's
I have
Sorry.
now realized what I have to throw at you guys now that you're level 10. I may have underestimated the party. Especially since
Willow's
Willow
feeling
didn't
a-
do anything really crazy. Like, you didn't do any crazy shit, did you?
I mean, I was starting with one, and then we're gonna go from there. But no, not yet.
Wow, this is gonna be intense. Okay.
So, yeah, Willow's feeling a little bit
Beholders it is.
awkward.
Anyway, what were you saying, Willow? I'm sorry.
It's okay. No, Willow's feeling a little awkward. I mean, seeing all the people watching them eat, not really knowing her companions as well.
Mhm.
So she decides to make a drink from home. So she casts control flames just around her drink bit, and then sprinkles in some of the spices and rock salt. It's the first one I sent you. As she sprinkles in the last ingredient, it kind of sets off this sparkler effect because everywhere, and then it settles into a swirl of silver into the wine, and she drinks it.
So you talking about the silver spark is the one that you're doing? Okay. So you guys watch as Willow takes something out that was innocuous enough that it wasn't taken from her, because it didn't look like it could be used as any sort of a weapon. And you don't have your wand on you for...
Well, no, it's the necklace.
Okay. Okay.
I mean,
No, I'm reading the description of the drink as you...
Okay.
So anyway, normally to cast any spell, you would generally use some sort of a focus, and
Which is
they
your
would
necklace.
have taken your focus from you because, again,
Would they have known?
yeah, they're again
Okay.
the major ruling party is a magocracy.
Okay.
They understand how magic works. So
Fair
they would
enough.
have taken that away from you. So it takes
Okay,
you a
then I'll
little bit
just
longer
use a
to
candle
make
or
the.
something.
Well, no, it's not that you're incapable of casting, especially cantrips.
Okay.
You're not incapable. It takes a little bit longer for you to do it, and you're randomly asking for weird things, and people are bringing them to you, and it's getting weirder and weirder. And you guys are watching her mix this very, very bizarre concoction. You're not exactly sure if you should be ducking under the table for cover or what, because some of the things that she's putting in there are starting to bubble and starting, you can see light starting to emit from it, and you're
Oh,
not
I'm super
100%
into it.
certain, but like Avok, you've drank a lot, and generally drinks don't glow. And at the end of it, you watch as like this shower of sparks comes out, and you see her just sipping this very bizarre, unique drink that none of you have ever seen before. And And as soon as you finish it, the captain goes, "Now, that is something that I need."
Yeah, tell me about it. You didn't say you could make like crazy drinks.
I'm thinking, and he sits there and he gets someone to bring over enough of the ingredients for you to make a few more rounds and go, "I think after the hospitality that I've shown you, I think as a show of good faith, since we're going to be taking you all the way to the other side of the kingdom, you might be willing to grace us with maybe just a couple of these very interesting concoctions you've just created."
I would be happy to. And she starts to make all of them with a little bit more of a flourish. Pops out a mage hand to like mix things, and she's done this plenty of times. It's
So
well
you guys
practiced.
are watching her,
mixing.
and she's like tossing, mixers behind her back and catching them on her shoulder and then flipping them over and, shaking things. And then she'll sit there shaking the mixer and then just leave it in the air shaking as she goes on and does other things and then picks it up again and does this. You see her putting other things. And then again, these sparks start flying from these drinks. And as they land on the table and stuff like that, they simply just kind of poof. With this very kind of homey cinnamon nutmeg smell as they impact the table. They set off these little sparks of scent. Would be the best way to describe it. And she gives one to the captain, and he takes a swig of it, and you see him kind of blown back, and he looks at it, and he looks at you, and he looks at the drink, and he looks at you, and he's like, perhaps this is a wee bit too forward, but if you would prefer not to die with the rest of your friends when they try to enact their stupid plan, we'd be more than happy to have you stick around here for a wee bit. Because this is
Well,
fucking
thank you.
magic.
Indeed, it is.
What, pray tell, what do you call this concoction?
It's called the Silver Spark.
Well, you're going to have to teach somebody on this staff. Actually, no, you're not. Because I know the people that I employ. And this is just a recipe for something very bad to happen. But the offer is open. If you would prefer not to die with the rest of your friends, please remain on the ship. Please.
Well, thank you.
And you see him making this emphasis. You can see he is absolutely convinced that the rest of you guys are going to die. Like, he's just kind of accepted that, oh, they're stupid. They want to do something stupid. I'll point and laugh, and then I'll leave. But he seems very impressed. And the rest of you guys, if you want to try some of this drink, you are... she has enough ingredients to make it for everyone.
Sure, I'll try some.
You have never had a mixed drink before.
No, she hasn't.
It goes to your head a little bit, very quickly because it's much more potent. Like you've had ale and stuff like that. You've had alcohol before. This, because it's a mixed drink, it's a little bit more potent, so it goes to your head a little bit faster. You're not like drunk or anything like that, but you feel that kind of, buzz of the alcohol kind of rushing through you, and it's very unique. You can taste nutmeg and cinnamon in it, and it's a very warming drink. But definitely one of those. I don't know how much you drink, but it's definitely one of those drinks that you don't really taste the alcohol in, so they can become very dangerous because you don't realize how much actual alcohol you are ingesting. It just tastes good. And again, there's sparks and everything flying, so it's really cool too. Anyway, anything else you guys want to do before you head to sleep?
Hey, well, right. I gotta have a request. I haven't had this since my soldier days, but you would happen to know how to make a bloody knuckle, would you?
Of course I can. Um, I asked for the right ingredients. I need ale and um,
They don't have any blackberries, but
do they have
Kata
any
could
kind of
probably
berries?
Kata
Oh,
could
okay, that's true.
probably druid craft something that would work.
I
Kata,
don't
could you
have
make me?
craft.
You don't have
Wait,
you
really?
don't have druid craft? Oh,
That
No.
was. Oh,
so yeah,
well then I
unfortunately,
just.
blackberries themselves are a bit of a commodity, and it's remarkable how easy they are to damage in shipment.
Sure.
I don't know how much you've dealt with
Hold
blackberries,
on,
but they
hold
break really
on.
easily.
I mean, I can just ask if they have any other type of berries.
They have some berries like blueberry. Blueberries generally tend to be much more common, as far as like berries are concerned, simply because again their skin's a little bit tougher.
I'm about to take the blueberries and crush them on this fade unless you were going to say something.
No, it's fine.
Okay. Then I crush the blueberries into the ale and mix it up for him and
Okay,
pass it over.
so
Sweet.
it's not quite what you remember. It's well made, but yeah, it's it's booze. It's it's more of a comfort drink than anything else.
Yeah, well, Avok, done chugging.
Whoa, yeah, that's good stuff.
Slams his fist. Namesake.
All right. Anyway, anything else you guys want to do before you head off to your bunks?
I don't really feel comfortable leaving them alone here. How far away are they going to put us up? From
You actually don't
Kata?
know. Again, you don't even know where you are as far as the city is concerned. You were mixed up when you got in here, so you've just been told that Willow and Kata will have their own bunks.
I have some ways to keep us safe.
And you just
Okay.
saw Kata turn into wind.
I'm starting to like the gnome. Starting to like the gnome. I think
It's one of those situations where I would feel very, very bad for the first person that attempts to try to take advantage of either Kata or Willow. Like, it will just be a bad experience for them.
Oh,
They
I
wouldn't take
don't doubt
advantage
that
of
at all.
anyone again.
I'm more concerned for myself. If they can turn off all my stuff, then I'm
Yeah.
kind of worse than anyone here.
Yeah.
I have a glove that can hit people, but that's about it.
Yeah, Kata would be pretty helpless if they could turn her magic off
You're
too.
starting to understand why throughout, even when you were conjuring the undead, why the captain did not seem particularly worried about it. And you're starting to understand where the confidence came from. Again, your knowledge of magic items is not quite as extensive as someone like Willow. You have never heard of an item like this. This is a unique thing. Willow, you as well have never heard of an item like this. Something like this would be devastating for. Something like this would be research that would be destroyed simply because used against the Eladrin who rely so heavily on magic. It could be devastating. So, yes, you've never heard of something like this, and you think if the Eladrin had created something like this, it would have been destroyed before an actual prototype would have been created. Because it's just a bad idea for people that rely so heavily on magic to create something that nullifies all magic. Even the null magic zone spell tends to be one that the incantations and everything to create it are very carefully guarded, and only a select few are allowed to learn that spell because of the implications.
So, I mean, we had dinner this whole time, and none of these people are joining in.
Mhm.
Can we get a sense of, is this blind loyalty? Are they scared? Are they just like, I want to know if I'm going to be able to try to talk to anybody. And I know being a Ladrin, it's going to be rough, but is anyone seeming like they might be unhappy and willing to talk and give us information?
What you're seeing
Okay.
here seems like ceremony over fear. This
is just what they do.
seems like a what's the word for it?
Tradition?
I guess. There's a very specific word that I can't think of right now, but yeah, tradition fits. This is ceremony. This is how things work. No one seems overly upset. Nobody seems angry, afraid, or anything. This is just simply how things work. No one seems bored or anything like that either. Like they're as much as after like the negotiations and everything ended, they stopped being completely silent. Like they chit chat with each other. A few of them would leave the room every so often, would come back. They did not touch any of the food on the table, but you did notice, bits of bread and stuff like that being passed around every so often. And obviously, people that actually left wherever they went, they theoretically could have possibly been getting something to eat. This was ritual. That was what I was trying to remember. This seems like a ritual. It's everybody has their place. They did exactly what they were supposed to do. Very similar to if you've ever been to a Catholic Mass. It happens the exact same way every single time. Everybody does the exact same thing. They move as one. It's a ritual, and so is this.
Okay. I need to know more about this thing that he's turning off our magic with. So I'm gonna. Does he stay the whole night? Like, does he ever take leave of the table?
He after probably roughly an hour, he'll get up and go. Well, it's been absolutely wonderful. We'll meet at. We'll be leaving before dawn, so get to bed early if you need your beauty rest. And he points at Avok. You especially could probably use quite a bit of it. And to that, everybody just kind of chuckles around him and laughs at his little joke at your expense. And then at that point, he would walk off.
Hey, Will, those drinks that you made, what's that called? The Bloody Knuckle? Yeah, Avok, how was it?
Avon looks at his knuckle.
Just like I remember.
Awesome. I look at Kata. Whew. All right, so I guess we have a ride. I look around. So who's showing us to our bunks?
You see the gentleman that had the towel over his arm. That was your servant. He goes, "All right, sirs and madams, it's time for us to take you to your 5-star accommodations. If you'd follow me."
I'm going.
All right. So again, he takes you through various passages and stuff like that. You notice that randomly, he will open up walls, and you guys will just walk through doors that didn't look like they were there. And he seems perfectly fine knowing exactly where he's going, but you guys again are completely lost by the time he comes to a door, opens it up, and it's a small, it looks kind of like maybe like a storage closet or something that they've strung up 2 hammocks in. and they kind of gesture for the ladies. And they hold up a key. There you go. This is the key to the door, if you'd like to look it. Although, with what that one can do, I really doubt you're going to need it. And then it gives you the keys and takes, again, Fade and Avok through, again, opening up random walls and going through doors and passages. And eventually...
I'm counting steps.
Cool. Make me an intelligence check.
I want to know where they are from us. Intelligence, like investigation.
Just straight up intelligence.
Okay,
I've had quite a few, so I'm not even going.
12.
Okay. You think you've got a rough idea, but it took all of your concentration to really focus on it. And they take you to a bunk room. You see the room itself has traditional bunks. It's got hammocks. They're all stacked 3 high. So it's packed. You can see some people are already sleeping in there. He goes, go ahead, try anyone that you want. Doesn't really matter. Your personal
Where does Surge
effects.
sleep?
Where does who?
Surge. Surge.
He's got his own room. He wouldn't sleep with us.
Of course not. Where could I find him?
You don't find him. He finds you. And if I were
Okay.
to tell you where his room was, I would not be long for this world. If you'd like to speak with him before you go to sleep, I can go find him, bring him in here. You can have a bit of a talk. But I'm not dumb enough to tell you where he sleeps.
That would be amenable.
All right. Your personal effects are right over there. You see looks like a footlocker kind of chest in the corner of the room. And if you go over there, all the items they took from you are in there, including the girls' items as well.
All right. I okay.
So he goes off. 20 minutes pass. You see Serge walk into the room. You notice that when he walks in, people leave the direct area, and he points at you and goes, "You want to talk to me?
I do.
We will not do it here. Come with me." And he simply turns on his heel and walks away through one of the doors.
Seeing his effect on the room, I'm actually going to kind of top step and get going right away.
Okay. So you go out a hallway, you take a left turn, there's a door on your left, he opens it, and it is a relatively simple room. There's no windows in it. There's a lantern hanging in it so that, everyone can see it. It's roughly about 15 by 15. There's a desk in it. There's a couple chairs. Seems like a standard, place where you would conduct a meeting, or maybe you see there's some maps on the table and stuff like that. So it's possible this is his office or something. You're not sure. And so he turns to you and goes, "What is it that you want?"
Who are you guys?
What do you mean?
What are you doing here in a hidden, for lack of a better
I
term?
have forgotten. The Eladrin, they are so convinced of their own superiority. They forget that there are many, many people who have power, and they forget that pure arcane control is not always what power is. You are surprised something like this can exist without your knowledge, yes?
Surprised but happy.
there is much more the Eladrin do not know. Despite your draconian laws and hatred of the other races. We are called the Black Sail. We exist wherever we need to exist. We go wherever we need to go.
And I when he says that, I'm interested in taking a chance. Would you be willing to share information with me for some in return?
Exactly what could you give me? You killed my crew, left me for dead in the middle of the ocean. The only reason I live today is I happened to be in the path of the Black Sail, and I was able to kill 20 of their men before they could subdue me, despite being adrift for 3 days.
I have no doubt of your prowess. We were sent to kill you by a platinum rapier, Aethwin himself. And taking
I'm
that
familiar
mission,
with the name.
we took that mission because we had to, not because we wanted to.
Your
And
motivations do not concern me.
no, they don't.
It
I
is your
understand.
actions. Those men that you killed, they were good men. You have probably not lost a single night of sleep.
I haven't slept well for a very long time. I know what my people do. I don't condone it. There's probably a reason I'm here and not with them anymore. I'm not innocent, but what I'm asking here is an exchange of information, and what I have to offer requires a little trust on your part. I'm going to ask you a couple questions. If you're interested in responding, do so.
I am interested in what the captain tells me to be interested in. He saved my life. I serve him. Because he has done something I could not. He rules the Eladrin Empire without them knowing. And to me, that is worth a very, very large amount. And maybe one day, he will be able to help me return to my people. But until that day, I will make sure people like you are never able to stop him. So what is it you wish to know? I have nothing I wish to know from you.
I want to know if you know how locked we are in this place, in this kingdom.
Do I
Do you know?
Do I know that the Eladrin have stopped all interplanar travel? Of course I know. Do you think I would come to this plane of existence if there was any other reason for me to stay? No, my purpose here was to discover why and to stop it. And going from my homeland through that barrier ripped my very soul from my body. And it was sheer luck that it returned when I got to the other side. What your people have done, you have broken existence. That was what I was sent here to fix, and I failed.
Here to change that.
Well, is that all you wish to know?
Yes, I wanted to know what you knew. That's more than I thought you would. So thank you for your time.
And you see him shaking his head, and you can almost feel the anger welling up underneath him. He goes, "My wife, my daughter, they do not know what happened to me. They do not know if I am alive or I am dead. While this barrier remains, I will never see them again." The demons from the lower hells have taken over. The divine beings who are supposed to oppose them have enslaved my people, have wrought wars across my homeland. And yet we are powerless to stop them because the beings that exist for balance cannot come to intervene because of your people. I know not if my wife is living or dead. I know not if my daughter lives as the plaything of some horrible being or as a free woman. This is what your people have done.
Take solace, one way or another. It'll be over soon.
You'll have to forgive me if I do not believe you. You should be able to find your way back to your bunk, yes?
Yes. Yes.
Leave me.
Fade goes.
So, that is where we are going to end it for tonight. Thank you so much for those of you guys who tuned in. I do run D&D games once I hit the right button. I do run D&D games here every Tuesday night, at least for the next month. I will be transitioning from Tuesday nights to a different night, more likely than not Wednesday. It'll be the same time, just a different night due to other things happening. But for the rest of November, tune in every Tuesday night, and you can see either this campaign or I have another campaign that will be ending, actually, in the next couple of weeks here. It's the Tyranny of Dragons campaign. We're going to end it, start a brand new campaign with the same players but new characters and everything. So yeah, follow me here on Twitter, or Twitch, I mean. You can follow me on Twitter. I'm at TrainerJody. I do upload all the episodes to youtube.com/TrainerJody. I'm actually up to date right now, which is crazy. So if you missed anything, you want to know where this guy came from, he's actually a character from like the 3rd or 4th episode, and we're on 50 something.
God.
Like, these guys have not heard hide nor hair of this guy in 2 years. So, yeah. Anyway, that's all for me today, and I will see you guys next time, all right? Bye-bye.